Is spirituality only about stillness, about finding peace in a reclusive place? Or is it about allowing life to be lived to the fullest, to be open enough and grounded in peace so that life can flow through us? I guess that's the invitation for this episode. You're listening to Consciousness in Me, and my name is Josephine. I'd like to suggest that when we speak about spirituality, as though it's found in meditation, in rest, in stillness, that's only one facet of the jewel. There are more facets. Basically, when we think about awakening or the spiritual journey, what's often portrayed is sitting in stillness, not being touched by life, almost like a bit of monastery way of spirituality. And I think that suits some people. Their whole fabric is that's what they're drawn to. But for me, it's been a bit different. For me, silence and relaxation in this container of not being disturbed by the world is important, and it's quite enjoyable. It's like a place where I resource in some ways. But if I were to stay there, if I were to make it a goal or the way to live awakening, I think I would sacrifice something. Because living in alignment with understanding of non-duality or realizing that I'm not my thoughts is a constant unfolding for me. And one of the things that has unfolded is this new way of understanding what it actually means to be liberated. And I'm starting to rephrase it from, I don't think it's about being liberated from the world or being liberated out of the world. It's about being liberated to be able to allow the world, to allow aliveness to flow through me, to be so open that I can face all of the facets of life. And recently, I have been listening to a song over and over again. It's from A Star is Born, and it's this specific scene where Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper sings Shallow. So it's basically about a rock star and a romantic movie. And the first time they appear on stage together, he's established on stage and she's a bit afraid of singing her songs. So he invites her onto the stage where there's thousands of people watching. And for me, the scene and the music is just so intense and rich with emotions. So it's almost like it's safer for me to shield off and not feel everything that happens on screen. But it's almost like it's a bit of a training ground to allow myself to open up, to be flooded through everything that happens. Like it's about vulnerability and love and power and trust and joy, creativity, total aliveness. And in one sense, it's a little bit safer to do it through music or on a video because I can hit pause whenever I want to and I can go back to my little safety. But to allow our own lives to touch us like that, to not shield away, not contract away, not gain our peace from withdrawing from the world, from shutting it out. And I'm not judging that. That is a way to find peace. But if we stop there, if we stop at finding our peace when we move away from the world, then I think we're missing out. I think that there's another journey back, which is to be in contact with the peace of our nature, with the peace of life, while life is happening to us. Relaxing back into peace while we're at a rock concert, while we're being flooded with aliveness, not lose track of the peace just because life happens. And that includes being with the wounds of your own childhood, to feel the hurt when you as a child weren't invited to belong somewhere. That includes sitting with a friend in grief. That includes allowing your creativity to flow through you without being able to control the outcome. Learning to play the guitar. Allowing your paintings to be seen. Showing up with your creativity without being able to control the outcome of it. That includes laughter and joy and passion, and to stand your ground, to allow when that power comes up, when you feel that you've been violated, or when someone has violated something that you hold very dear, like could be anything, mistreating an animal, to allow this power to move through you, not block it and say like, oh, that's not for me to interfere. No, to trust the truth that comes out, not acting from violence, or not violence, but not acting from being against life, but moving with life, to allow all of that diversity that it means to be alive. And when we think about spirituality, as though it's only about peace and tranquility, I think we're missing out on the aliveness. We're not allowing life force to really move through us. And then there's also the opposite trap. That's more like FOMO, fear of missing out. When life is actually calling us into stillness, into passive rest. But instead of listening to that, we follow the mind that we should do something. We should go traveling. Maybe the most aligned thing to do is to say that, no, I'm not going to go to this concert because I need to sit in stillness. That's my truth right now. And yes, I will most likely miss out on some fun stories. And that also means if your calling is to go to a silent retreat, to follow that impulse. But equally, if your calling is to engage with the world, to create movement, aliveness, noise, or sound, maybe, to allow that to also unfold. Not make life smaller than it is, and also not try to control how it flows. Just honor whatever flows without giving up peace, without giving up stillness. Because stillness is our nature. Stillness is the holding space for movement, for vibrations. And this channel is a warm welcome to explore that, to find that peace within ourselves, so that we can enjoy life without getting lost in it, so that we can surf these vibrations of life, of joy, of passion, of confusion, of not knowing, without losing touch with the eternal peace. And if we think that the peace can only be found when we turn away from life, when we don't get so excited, when we don't allow life to flow through us without contracting, without telling life exactly where it's allowed to flow, then I think we're missing out. And I'm not speaking only metaphorically, at least this is my experience. It's almost like my body is contracting when I try to control the flow of life. And the more I loosen up, the more I breathe through sensations or intense emotions, it almost feels like this field is expanding, and even like the boundaries are dissolving. And I think it's going to be a deepening. I haven't even touched upon the capacity for my nervous system, for my being to hold life in all of its frequencies, from grief and sadness to joy and ecstasy. But it takes trust and perhaps a bit of courage. And not to push ourselves over something that we're capable of. When we make it into a goal, a rigid structure of how we should act, I think there's more for us to look at. I always come back to truth, being honest with ourselves. But for me, I think enlightenment is about allowing life to flow through you without controlling the currents. And perhaps it's also an invitation to liberate the spiritual teachings, because I think perhaps our time has misunderstood them. We've taken it as a blueprint of only being in stillness, of sitting silently in meditation, while that's just one facet of the jewel. But I'm curious what you think. What is your experience with this? Please do share in the comments. And I hope to see you next time. This is an ongoing conversation. I don't have the answers. I'm just on the journey. I hope to see you next time.